always flies in groups of up to 5 identical helicopters.
Sort of the 3 cups, you know, the guy that moves the 3 cups around. You know, I mean, it's the same concept, is that you want to try to disguise whatever helicopter he may be in, and that's been an effective way to do that.
While Marine One can be part of what is called the presidential shell game, there is no way to disguise Air Force One. This Boeing 747 is 6 stories tall, with the capability of staying aloft indefinitely with air-to-air refueling. The 4,000 square feet of floor space include a suite for the president, infirmary with operating table, conference room, offices, and an area for the press. But the exact layout is a closely guarded secret. Air Force One is powered by 4 CF-6 80C2 jet engines, each rated at 56,750 pounds of thrust. The plane cruises at 610 miles per hour. Extensive testing makes sure the jets perform efficiently in the worst weather conditions. Still, the same Stinger shoulder-mounted missiles that the Taliban used to shoot down helicopters in Afghanistan can bring down Air Force One.
About 5 years ago, an Al-Qaeda operation shot a heat-seeking missile at an aircraft in Mombasa, Kenya, and fortunately missed. So that is one of those scenarios that's still out there, that's been attempted recently, and is a nightmare for the Secret Service.
On September 11th, 2001, the Secret Service thought it might be facing that very possibility. America was under attack, and Air Force One had become the White House.
And so Air Force One flew up to 45,000 feet and went into something that I think was practiced during the Cold War, part of the Cold War planning, which was just flying randomly in the sky.
President George W. Bush wanted to return to Washington immediately, but now the Secret Service was in charge.
It's not a movie, and if something, God forbid, ever happened to the president, can you imagine how much deeper the crisis gets? So that's why you yield to the Secret Service.
With the fortress of the Pentagon still smoldering, the Capitol was not yet considered safe. For the first time over American soil, Air Force One had a fighter escort. Finally, after 9 hours and 2 stops at secure Air Force bases, President Bush returned to Washington and talked to the nation from the Oval Office.
Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America.
But a crucial lesson had been learned. Air Force One has to be ready to be the center of American government in an emergency. While he was airborne on 9/11, President Bush had been unable to broadcast from the plane. Now, a new communication system makes Air Force One as technologically up-to-date as the White House. What 9/11 showed, in stunningly clear relief, was that the Secret Service faces a new kind of threat.
The audacity of that attack has changed everything and up the ante for counterterrorism and security officials around the world.
Since 9/11, the Secret Service sees potential threats everywhere, even in the place that should be the president's safest haven, his own home, the White House. The White House has 132 rooms and sits on 18 acres, and the ways to protect it are highly classified. Just below the Oval Office in the West Wing is the Secret Service White House headquarters. It is the center of the bubble that surrounds the president's family. The walls are protected by radiation detectors. Each lock demands a key and a special trick to open. Panic buttons, disguised as statues or hidden in drawers, are in many rooms. Underground motion sensors are scattered throughout the White House lawn. Counter snipers watch silently, prepared to bring down any would-be assassins.
The White House has a great deal of what we call standoff. It's difficult for any vehicle to get close to the White House. The White House has great control over the immediate vicinity of the 18 acres that are around the White House, which gives it a great deal of security.
The first attempt on a president at home was directed at President Harry Truman by two Puerto Rican nationalists in 1950. Truman was staying across the street in Blair House, while the White House underwent renovation. After a fierce shootout, one assassin, Griselio Torresola, lay dead on the sidewalk, killed by a Secret Service officer, Leslie Kofeld, who himself died in surgery 3.5 hours later. The only member of the agency slain during an attack on the president. There was blood on the sidewalk in front of Blair House, but the White House itself seemed invulnerable. Still, people try to pierce the bubble. In 1994, a mentally unstable veteran, Francisco Duran, fired shots from a semi-automatic rifle at a man in a suit that he thought was President Bill Clinton. In fact, Clinton was inside watching a football game.
You had a little competition here. The president wanted to watch what was happening, and the agent wanted to get him away from the window.
Duran was able to get off 29 shots before bystanders, not the Secret Service, subdued him. Now, advanced science could speed up agents' reaction time. Boomerang sniper detection is based on 7 strategically placed microphones. Whether it is in use at the White House is classified, but it would make sense. Boomerang is supposed to be able to detect a sniper shot, and in under a second, tell the exact location of the shooter, even from a moving vehicle. Testing the unit on a firing range in Massachusetts demonstrates how well it works.
Shot 2 o'clock. Shot 2 o'clock. Shot 2 o'clock. 110 meters.
Dave Schmidt is the project manager who helped push through the final development of Boomerang in less than 3 months for delivery to the front lines of Iraq. He follows the sniper detector's instructions.
Gotcha.
Exactly where Boomerang predicted. The real genius of Boomerang comes not from the microphones, but from the software that analyzes what they hear. It depends on the subtle difference between 2 sounds: the muzzle blast, which surrounds the shooter, and the shockwave left behind by the supersonic bullet.
The muzzle blast is familiar to most people. It sounds like a bang. The shockwave, on the other hand, sounds like a crack.
As the sniper bullet blasts through space, faster than the speed of sound, it creates a shockwave, shaped like an ever-expanding ice cream cone. Boomerang hears the crack of the shockwave. The microphones also record the bang of the muzzle blast, which moves in an ever-expanding sphere. The software analyzes the tiny variation between the arrival times of the 2 sounds to find the shooter in less than a second. At the same time, Boomerang can distinguish between a similar sound like a car backfire or firecracker and a gunshot. This is crucial in a noisy urban battlefield like Iraq or traffic-clogged Washington, D.C. But Boomerang would not protect the president from the most serious threat, the air. This was abundantly clear when Frank Eugene Corder crashed a single-engine Cessna into the White House in an attempt to kill President Clinton. The first family was not home at the time. An unemployed truck driver whose wife had just left him, Corder was the only casualty. But the incident provoked widespread criticism of the Secret Service. Why didn't they shoot the Cessna down?
The plane, if you did neutralize it, it still has to go somewhere. It's not going to vaporize. So you still have all the fuselage, the engine, the wings going somewhere.
The White House was empty at the time, and it is very close to the mall, which is usually packed with tourists.
You're going to have all these things coming down to Earth without any warning to those citizens. They're not going to be able to get out of the way of it. So you're going to have a 300-pound engine going at 200 to 300 miles an hour. Could do tremendous damage.
7 years later, in 2001, the Secret Service was facing a much bigger threat than a Cessna, a Boeing 757. As Agent Joseph Funk was arriving on September 11, 2001, the White House